What is going on? We got the little gold microphone. Hopefully this will pick up our volume pretty well. We're going to do a little Q&A here. I asked people to ask me questions, and that was part of the introduction to the channel in a sense for the first giveaway at 100 subscribers. We'll be giving another giveaway at 150, so we only need like 4 more. So hopefully that'll be easy to get like this week. So if you're one of those 4 people, just click subscribe right now. And the 150 giveaway, still have not decided on what I'm going to give, but it'll be cool. So maybe a little mystery box or something like that. Anyway, let's get right into it. We got a lot of questions. I'm also going to use this as a way to determine maybe what some future videos to make, I guess. That way, let me know what you guys want. Also, email me pictures of your models. If you're finished painting some models and want some like art critique on them, I'll be happy to do that. If the channel ever gets really big, there's only so much time in a day, so I might not be able to do all that, or I'll just do like multiple people's, but just one picture from different people kind of thing. So like 5 different people, but 1 picture from each. So we're going to start off basic miniature painting. Said, hey bud, watching from the UK, a question: how long have you been growing your beard? And which chaos god does it belong to? Congrats on hitting 100 subs. Thank you so much. Basic miniature painting. I actually did the hair dryer on my beard today, so it's kind of straight and looking kind of cool. It doesn't take a super long time for it to grow to this length, but I kind of just let it grow to about this length and then just try to trim it to shape every so often, and try to keep the cheeks and neck a little cleaned up, but I don't take it that serious. So it's hard to say. It definitely belongs to Slaanesh. I have a massive demon army for all 4 gods. I have 1,000 Suns Tzeentch, a Space Marine army, but Slaanesh is my favorite of all the Chaos gods, so I'm super excited that we might be getting a new Keeper of Secrets model. I do have the one from Creature Caster that's really awesome. I just haven't got around to finish painting it yet. But some of my favorite models too are the Big Claw Demonettes, not the Juan Diaz and not the really, really old ones, and definitely not the current ones, but the Big Claw ones. I just always love those things. They're so ridiculous but scary, and they're awesome. James Mayer says, congratulations. I would be interested in seeing a showcase of your current armies. I often find myself creating a small narrative for all factions I am interested in. So, do you find yourself doing the same? Yeah, I want to do a lot of kind of showcase videos. It's kind of fun drawing on the photos that we've done, some of those art critiques. And it'd be fun to draw on mine, or if somebody else wanted to do it, we could send them some photos and they could do it for us. I'm not super familiar with the fluff. I've been playing a long time, or I played a long time, then I took a long break, and now I've been playing for like 4 or 5 years again. And the narrative I keep is I really am good at remembering like certain characters in my army, like special things they've done, or units. Sometimes I can remember for a long time, so I remind people that my Tech Priest Dominus with the red axe, not the magic item, it's just the handles painted red, killed Magnus in hand-to-hand combat. Yeah, he only had 2 wounds left, but I charged bravely and got it through. So that's kind of a narrative that just plays in my mind. My narrative, I don't know. It's not narrative like the lore. It's more narrative just like the history of games I've played with the models, if that makes sense. Ian McDaniel says, congrats on 100. If you lost all your current Warhammer armies in a fire, don't you ever say that. What army would you start over with? Would you choose the same army or armies all over again? Or would you do something different? And if you could choose the same armies again, which would you go for instead? Or if you couldn't choose. So I have a big, fully painted Adeptus Mechanicus army. I wouldn't choose them again because I've already painted a very decent sized full army. And I think I would struggle to actually paint a second one. And I think it might give me some hobby burnout. I don't know. At this point, I have sold most of my Blood Angels, but I have a lot of Chaos Demons. I have like a lot. I have a lot of Eldar. I've never played them in 8th edition yet, though, because they're just mostly unbuilt in boxes. I bought some people's armies off them. I have a lot of Tyranids that I haven't played yet. I'm working on my Imperial Guard. The Thousand Suns are a work in progress, but I have played with them. They are fun. The Admech I love. So I picked up a few. I couldn't resist. I'm such a junkie. But I picked up this guy, Primaris Librarian. And I'm probably going to pick up some Primaris Marines off of a local guy here that I hang out with at painting class and stuff. And I might be painting up some Death Watch, because I'm starting to like the idea of having small little factions to mix in with my High Guard and Admech. And originally that's what the High Guard were going to be, but I just was getting a couple good deals, and I just kind of felt like expanding the army out. So for Sigmar, I have Empire, which I've mostly sold, Free People, all the Chaos, all the Skaven, every clan. I could probably do 2,000 or more points. Nurgle Mortals, Tzeentch Mortals, huge army, Khorne Mortals, Slaves to Darkness. I feel like I'm missing some. I've sold my Fire Slayers. The Stormcast army's huge, and I've never even played it. It's just they always come in those big box deals, so I just buy them. So for Sigmar, I would definitely just go Stormcast again, just because I know they're going to be fully supported forever, and that gives us, you'll be confident in building and painting and your collection. For 40K, it'd be hard to choose. I'd probably just pick whatever whatever caught my eye, whatever had a buzz, maybe something that got some new, sort of like cat's doing something mysterious, something that got some new units. But eventually I'd probably own them all again, so I guess, Congrats on 100 subs from Jarok Grendel. Dariok. I'm starting a little fun list for my Thousand Suns based off Spawn, maxing out the squad size for sure. How do you feel about Spawn? I don't see many out as much, but I would love to have a total of 15 of them. I might have to get up in the middle of this video to let the cat out, but I have the door closed to keep the room a little more quiet for you guys. So the Spawn look pretty good, and they have a good stratagem in the Thousand Suns book, which is funny. I don't know if you can warp time them, but I'm pretty sure you can use one of the deep strike mechanics with them. I'm not familiar with them. I own some of the old meta ones. I think I own 2 fine cast ones. I haven't tried them. I like the idea of it. I've used to run, a ton of Beasts of Nurgle in old fantasy armies and 40K. I haven't tried it in the new one. I like really skewed armies for fun. I don't like really skewed armies, I guess, for trying to be good. If it's really good, think about it this way. If it's really good, everybody's going to call you the Spawn spam player. If it's really bad, then you're that cool guy with the Spawn army. So, something to think about. Budget Wargamer says, my beard is red too and might be bigger. Kind of a comment, really, not really a question. And then next he says, I'm in Arizona. I used to live right near Imperial Outpost. Now I live in Santan Valley. Go subscribe to his channel. I like his channel too. Imperial Outpost is the best game store in Phoenix, Arizona, if you're here. And I can say that with confidence because I've never been to any other game stores. I went to the Scottsdale Games Workshop once, and it was okay. It's really tiny compared to Imperial Outpost, and it didn't even have chairs to sit on while you play, so way less tables. So, and it was kind of I think it was like concrete floors and kind of echoey. So it felt loud in there for such a small space, just because people were playing 40K. They also used like the maybe most of you play James or Stuff Stores, I'm not sure, but uh, they were using like those Realm of Battle tiles or whatever, which are like a hard plastic. So like all the dice rolling was just like complete racket. Hold on, this sucks, but I gotta let the cat out. And that is why you don't ever buy a cat, even though she's pretty cool. So anyway, check out Imperial Outpost if you're in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a great store. Cadet Tank said, "What is your favorite model to paint?" I like them all. I love painting just all of them. I need to probably get a. I'm kind of chickened out a bit on my Lehman Russes for a bit because they have big flat surface models tend to not take to my cheaty wash and highlight or dry brush or any of those kind of techniques that a lot of us learn on, but later on you become so like confident in them. This one was really just because it's right here. I had a lot of fun painting this one. It's not done, but that was one where I literally just went crazy trying to do some kind of cool old way, like I guess it'd be a falcon or a wave serpent. No, but I haven't finished it. But there's something fun to play around with. I like picking up one model that's kind of different than what I'm working on, and that one I'm just having fun with, because when you're painting an army, sometimes it becomes a little bit tedious, kind of like a little bit of a chore. Idic Beer 40K, he also has a big channel on YouTube, and I think a lot of you came from his channel because I believe he shared it, so thank you for that. It says, "Congrats, buddy. I watch from the UK. My question, have you ever visited the UK? What did you think? If not, what is your favorite country you have visited? PS, shared in my Wargamers Unification Facebook group." Awesome. So yes, he did share, and he got me quite a few subscribers. So thank you so much for that. Go check out his channel, especially if you're into Necrons. Necrons! If you watch his videos, you'll be familiar with what I just did there. I have been to London. It was awesome. I was 18. I believe I went to a place called the Piccadilly Square or Piccadilly Circus. I think that was in London. It's hard to remember it all because now I'm like 32 or something. So yeah, I've been to London. It was awesome. I also, favorite country I visited, so the only one I've been to the United States. Obviously, I live here. Mexico once, England once, or United Kingdom, France once, and Italy once. And I think I'm gonna have to say France was my favorite country I visited, just because it has the Louvre, and I would love to be living in a place that had the Louvre. Right? You could spend a lot of time there looking at priceless works of art. Rome was also pretty cool, except for they have like sketchy panhandlers. Billy Lynch says, "Is there anything that gets you in the painting mood, or are there certain models that drive you to paint more of them?" I ask because I sometimes struggle to get my mojo going, but when I do, I can't seem to stop. I feel like painting is just like artwork. You either want to do it or you don't. I don't think there's anything that's going to get you in the mood. But I do think trying new colors and new washes, try some Army Painter washes, some GW washes, some inks, liquid acrylics, trying new bases, all of that gets me like I want to go. But then like mid to end way in an army or something, that's when you really start to like oh, 20 more of these I gotta finish up, and then I'm done. And then you go, oh, it'd be cool if I had 5 more and give them these upgraded weapons, like some arc mauls for my champions, so I could, if I want to try them out, that sort of thing. So that's about all I would think of that gets me in the mood. I'm always kind of in the mood to paint. I don't really want to do anything else. Like when I'm working, I'm just like, ugh. I think I'd rather go paint, or or go play, right? Go play a game or a board game or something. I don't play computer games, so if I'm at home and in my room, I usually listen to something on YouTube or like a podcast maybe, and painting, or just laying in the bed watching stuff on YouTube. Congrats on subs. What's your favorite part of the hobby? From Cheddar Monkey. My favorite part is definitely painting, although playing is like a huge part of it, because the whole social aspect and just the fun you have laughing with your friends, and the memories you make doing that is also probably equally important. But I always said I'd probably be happy if I could like just go live in the middle of nowhere and paint for a year and then get really good. So if I would be, if that ever crossed my mind, and art has always been what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a painter. So I'd say painting is my favorite part. The absolute worst part is putting the models together and cleaning mold lines. Unless you're doing a conversion, that's fun. But when you're just putting things together, like, oh, I gotta put another guy with a las gun together and clean all these mold lines off his knuckles, that is the worst. Thane Drake Wargaming. Congrats on the big 100, bud. What's your thoughts on a mostly kit-bashed army, and what army you think will be easiest to kit bash that's not orcs? The easiest one to kit bash that's not orcs would be Imperial Guard, I think, because you could kit bash with scale models. I'd avoid it, but you could use some of it, right? People will recognize that things aren't from Warhammer 40k or aren't GW. But a big thing is their little tiny human bodies for the KDNs and stuff fit a lot of free people and different heads that have come out, human heads that have come out for fantasy, like Marauders, Flagellants, Bretonnian, Men at Arms, Free People, Free Guild Guard. All of those heads, plus other companies might make them. Third-party companies make definitely like different uniform heads. So I think that'd be a good one if you wanted to go all kit bash. If you're thinking like for kit bash, I would say Imperial Guard. If you're going full on like conversion, then it's just limited by your imagination. I think a really crazy like demon army could be fun if you wanted to go all out. Captain Morgan's War Games. Great beard from the UK. Idic Beer sent me over. Thanks again for the share. How did you get into the hobby? Secondly, you say Zangor Enlightened is one of the top 3 units in Codex Thousand Suns. Would you not use Zangors? 30 of them with blades, prescience, then a prince near, and you're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with Glamour of Zinch and Weaver of Fate, and then that equates to a unit that's having 90 hits, hitting on 2s, wounding usually on 4s. And with Cycle of Slaughter can repeat and rinse. I think the Zangors are super good. I haven't really ran 30 of them. Sometimes I run 20 of them, or even just like units of 10. They're really surprisingly good because they get like a built-in reroll against characters, and they have AP1, which is what like an assault marine should have. The fact that a space marine who's like can punch as hard as a machine gun that he carries, yet neither of them have an AP, is interesting, but everything's kind of balanced around them. But anyway, the Zangor has AP1, so he's legit. It sounds like you're going really in on a lot of spells and buffs and characters hanging around them. That's something. And I know they're not expensive, so you could even have 90 of those guys if you wanted, and probably still have all kinds of other stuff in your army. I think they're really good. I just haven't been playing with them as much. Cool infantry are always going to be cool. I was trying to pick things that maybe people would have been, or at least the Zango Enlightened. I think I like them a lot, and I think that maybe would surprise people that they are very good. The Demon Prince probably kind of obvious, but then also I picked Ahriman on foot and not the disc because I like, most people probably just take him on the disc because the new model comes with the disc, and I would encourage you to try him just on foot for if you need to save some points. And he gets access to that spell where if he's not a demon, which he's not when he's on foot, he doesn't have the keyword. He can start buffing up his stat lines rolling on that chart and maybe turn into a spawn. So the other guy could get another spawn in his army down below. Leem, or L333M. Hey man, best of luck on your YouTube career. Yeah. What is it you do for a living currently? I work for my uncle and father doing commercial direct TV, which means like bars and restaurants. I don't do anything like residential, so I don't know anything about that. And mostly I just handle the day-to-day, like if I got to call in and activate 20 receivers, that could take like 40 minutes on the phone, and neither of them, they're busy or doing other things, so somebody's got to actually do all that. Huge bonus to it is some days I literally don't have to do like anything, so that's super awesome because I just get paid monthly. So when you have days that you're like on call, kind of, but nothing's happening, you're basically getting paid to do nothing, and you can slip away and put a wash on a couple pairs of boots or something on your painting table. So that's super cool. Graham Collin, congrats on the 100 subs. Found my way here via Idic Beer's Facebook post. Thanks again for the share. That's so awesome. I hope you share all my giveaways. I do watch your channel as well. I'm from UK too, so there are a few of us non-stateside. Do you play any games or have any interest in any games outside of the GWO sphere? If so, tell us about them. I'm way out of that closet as far as my liking for playing with toy soldiers is concerned. Happily shared to Facebook and Twitter. Wow, thank you so much. That's very nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of. Actually, let me grab it. It's like right in front of me, but there's something. I'm a big fan of this game, Massive Darkness. I've bought all the expansions for it, and it's really fun. It's basically a dungeon crawl, hack and slash kind of game, but it's it's pretty fun, and the miniatures are pretty cool, and they paint up cool. This model that I'm working on, which makes a cool Tyranid like HQ bug, but excuse to play with my airbrush. But this guy is also a guy in Massive Darkness, one of your monsters that you could be killing. So the models are pretty cool. The one we've been just playing the crap out of, like hours and hours every week on Saturday from about 3 or 4 o'clock to almost midnight every Saturday, is Gloomhaven. Definitely, I think it was a Kickstarter. I think it came in stock at the store once, and then it's been out of stock ever since. So I don't think they can manufacture them fast enough to keep up with demand. Gloomhaven is like a 22-pound board game. The box is huge. There's tons of characters, tons of cardboard. There's like 100 different dungeons to go through. It's super in-depth. There's a lot of strategy in how you handle your hit points and manage your cards. It's very, very good. So definitely check out Gloomhaven. I've also had some fun with Imperial Assault, the Star Wars kind of dungeon crawler. I feel like they limit you a little too much in how many turns you can get, but so like you have to spend so much time talking to your friends, or that's funny. So much time like planning out your each turn. It feels like when you're I got to do this in 6 turns or whatever. I hate that part about it. It draws on and on and on because everybody wants to do the perfect turn. Gloomhaven, you do plan a bit, but you're not supposed to really talk about like at what initiative you're going and things like that. So there's a little more. It speeds up the player cards, and then do your turn. And maybe some turns you don't get to do something because somebody blocked your line of sight, and that's fine. I also have Malifaux. I have a bunch of the Neverborn crews. Since 8th edition has come out, I haven't really played Age of Sigmar much or Malifaux at all. I've just been really into the 40k. I think they really hit a home run. I kind of wish I didn't buy so many Malifaux crews because we just haven't been playing it at all. There's a board game called Zombies, which has a whole bunch of little expansions we play sometimes. And that's about it. I don't do much board games. I don't play any video games. When I did, I would play Dota 2, but I haven't played that in months, maybe 6 months or a year now. So definitely check out Gloomhaven, Massive Darkness, both solid games. Ice Wolf Inc. Congrats on 100. Greetings from the Netherlands, Europa. Only 5,480 miles away. Like your videos, keep up the good work. What do you have in the background when hobbying and painting? Well, Mr. Ice Wolf Inc., I have basically the community stuff, right? Codex reviews, where anybody's talking about anything related to Warhammer, 40k, Age of Sigmar. I'll be happy to turn it on if people are talking about painting. Vince Venturella's Hobby Cheating, the Hobby Hangout, Idic Beer talking about Necrons, Dark Artisan talking about Death Watch, like a lot of that stuff. I don't really watch battle reports right now. I used to consume a lot of those, and they just don't interest me because they don't give me any value. You have to watch a battle report for me to get value out of it. So if you're just painting, all you really hear is like, I need to roll 6 4 pluses. Dice rolls, and it's just not interesting. Also, I like listening to like podcast things, anything like with Norm Macdonald. Sometimes I listen to Joe Rogan, then other times I unsubscribe and just stop, and then I'll check periodically if there's like a comedian on. I've listened to some self-help kind of stuff, like inspiration stuff, like Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or whatever the heck those guys are. I don't know if they're classified as self-help, maybe motivational. Terry Crews on the Tim Ferriss podcast is really a good interview, so I like that stuff. I was thinking about maybe starting to listen to like books, maybe like books that I never read that are supposedly really good, maybe listening to those. But one time I tried to listen to like an Age of Sigmar novel, an audiobook, and literally I just like keep kind of go zoning in and out of paying attention, and then when I kind of look up, so to say, and start listening like with focus, I had no idea what was going on, and it just wasn't working for me. So definitely podcasts and hobby content. I'd start there. Tim Ferriss, I think, is a podcast I'm going to start listening to, or The Nerdist, if you like comedians and stuff. Nerdist podcast. I don't think they've been uploading new ones. I don't know why. Norm Macdonald podcast, which Netflix bought, so now it's not on YouTube, and I don't have Netflix because I have DirecTV. And like pretty much never music. I like listening to like content. I feel like I'll be learning something. When I oil painted, though, I would listen to Mozart, the Pandora Mozart station, because I read that helps you get into a kind of mathematical mindset, helps your brain kind of do math problems, and I feel like that helps you with color mixing and stuff on oil painting. I don't know, maybe not. Nicholas Malinowski. For a new orc player, what would you consider to be the best army structure? Alright, so I would focus around killer cans and Def Dreads and maybe a Morkanaut or Gorkanaut, maybe a Stompa down the road. Their planes, super cool looking. And that is based 100% on which models I think look the best. From checking out tournament lists, the ones that seem to perform the best currently without a codex are like 90 storm boys, 90 regular boys, a bunch of weird boys that teleport them around, and you just play the game out with like a horde of bodies. So if you're brand new to the game, there's only one thing you have to do, and that is buy the things you like the most. If you are brand new to the game and you say orcs appeal to me, go to the store and buy the one box of the orcs that you saw that makes, appeals to you the most. And let's even cut it off though a little bit and say under $60 or under $70. Don't buy the Stompa first, right? Also, the start collecting boxes are very good. With orcs, you're gonna probably want 20, 40, 60, 90, whatever orc boys. But if I was doing orcs, I would do the all killer cans and Death Dreads army, because I think it looks super cool. And then those junky robots driving around, walking around, trying to chainsaw things. And then the airplanes are very cool looking for the orcs. But if you're brand new to the game, I don't know much about the codex. I know I never beat them with my Admech. The orcs always swarm me and kill everything. It's like anything you kill, there's just more of them, and yeah, they hit on 5s, but when they hit, they still kill stuff, so they look like a super fun army. I don't know if I'd play the army though as like an orc horde. Actually, I don't really want to play any horde army ever again. I did it with the Empire. I used to run 100-man blocks of spearmen, and I'd have 100 handgunners and 60 halberdiers, and an old fantasy, like 4th and 5th edition, 60-man blocks of high elves back in like 2nd or 3rd edition. And it was cool back then, but the way it's going now, it just appeals to me a lot more. I didn't know it existed, like Age of Sigmar. Never even thought a game could be like that and still ring true to me that I'm having a good fantasy battle, or just how kind of crappy 7th edition 40k was, just a dumpster fire. So stupid. And 8th edition comes out, and it's just like the most fun I've ever had playing war games. So there you go. Buy what you like visually. They're your models. You got to paint them. You got to build them. You got to touch them, play with them, and move them around. So my favorite orc model though is that one with the 3 like laser beams pointing down on his head. He's yellow with like light blue laser beams. I think he's like a Mega Knob and Mega Armor or something with some kind of laser gun. He looks so cool. I really want that model. So if somebody has that model and doesn't want them, send it to me, because I don't want to buy the whole kit, and I actually have a huge orc army that I picked up for a good deal. 2 orc armies that I combined into one, and mostly just to get in. I traded. Some people wanted some stuff I didn't want in, and I'll probably sell them when the codex comes out. Start piecing them out, maybe give away some in the giveaway. Wizard Wargaming says, "Hey boss, big congrats on 100 subs. It's a great feeling to hit those milestones. You clearly have good taste in army choice goes for playing Adeptus Mechanicus, but what is your favorite unit and why?" Visually, my favorite unit, why I got the army, was the Castellan robots. I think they look so unique to the army. Also, all the little soldiers with their little like metal gas mask kind of helmets are super cool. My favorite unit probably now in the army, after playing a lot of games, taking them from Phoenix to Chicago for Adepticon, playing in tournaments, which is not really my thing if you've watched the channel, but playing a lot of games. I think the Chicken Walkers, man. The Chicken Walkers with 2 like the double las cannon, or even when they have the auto cannon, are so awesome. Downside, they're one of the models that I actually feel slightly ripped off on. They're very cool, but they're $50 each. I have 3. If there was a box of 3 of them on the shelf and it had a $149.99 price tag, I'd probably have 0. But because they're 50 each individually every once in a while. I'll buy one. But I have 3, and I think that's all I'm going to get. I was planning on getting 3 more to make as the Lance guys, or even 3 more to make them as 3 more like autocannons and running like 3 units of 2 las cannons and 3 units of 2 autocannons. They're very strong. They have a stratagem that can give them +2 to hit, so they like hit on 1s, rerolling 1s. So even like an Altiok flyer, you still hit on 3s, rerolling 1s against. Very strong. And if they're in a unit, all 6 of them could do it. I haven't really fielded them in a unit. Usually just field 1 of each, and people don't target them. They always target your Castellan robots. They always target your Doom crawlers, and they just think those chickens aren't doing anything, and they're the ones doing everything. So, chickens with las cannons, super awesome. Battles in a Blue Shed says, congrats on 100 subs, fella. What is your favorite miniature that you've painted? Oh, probably my Imperial Knight. He's super rusted out. I went overboard on the paint, but people really like him when I show them, and I really like him too. Hopefully, though, every miniature I paint I like a lot, but just because he's so big and interesting, I don't want to do another one anytime soon, but my Imperial Knight I'm pretty proud of, so he kind of kicked off the whole AdMech army for me. Intimidator Mora, congrats on your 100 subs. If you have the power to change something about 40k games, what would it be? By the way, Abaddon rocks. Change something about 40k. There's one thing that bothers me a lot is the Land Raider, which was in olden times like the scariest vehicle in the game, and it always gets crap rules now. Like this last edition, if you move the Land Raider over a bush, on a roll of a 1, it would immobilize itself for the rest of the game. So it was like literally the Land Raider could not raid land. And now it can't back up out of combat and shoot. And it's like a big, expensive tank. That thing 100% should be able to retreat from combat and shoot at a -1 to hit. And it would make all variants better. And you'd see them more on the table, I believe. But the fact that one little nerdling could grab the tank track and all the guys inside panic and can't fire the guns, which would actually just be working probably automatically on computer at this time in the future. So, I don't know. I think they could adjust that. I think it's a balance thing for doing it for like most vehicles, but the Land Raider, I think, should have a little more respect, I guess, given to it. Change something about 40k. The mouth breathers that like try to argue like crazy interpretations of the rules. Like the big one on the AdMech group is like that stratagem where they were trying to pretend like they could shoot for 1 command point. And then sometimes I'd like let them know how ridiculous they sound, and they're like, well, it's obviously not that good because that's how people play it and they don't win events. And then you're like, well, if you had a unit of 6 chickens shooting 12 las cannons and your opponent goes first, and for 1 command point I could shoot it in their movement phase, psychic phase, shooting phase, charge phase, fight phase, and morale phase, and you're telling me that their whole army wouldn't be dead with 12 las cannons shooting in on 3s? Yeah. Okie dokie there. So the people's crazy rules. But then the problem is I feel like GW comes up with crazy FAQs sometimes that like just give these people like a hint of hope. The big one being I'm going to go into this for a second. There's an item in the Demon Codex for Khorne that is a crown, and it gives you an aura for Khorne demons around you. This aura is when you roll a 6 to wound, you can attack with the same weapon again. Well, it doesn't say for melee only. And so people are saying you could shoot a skull cannon, and if you roll a 6 to wound, you could shoot the skull cannon again, and the skull cannon, when you shoot it, is D6, heavy D6. So technically, if you rolled 6 shots, they all hit, and they all wounded, and all rolled 6, that would generate 6d6 more attacks. super stupid and ridiculous. But by the way, would make corn skull cannons awesome. Another thing is there's the Lord of Skulls, which is that giant corn like Titan guy with like the half-track body. He kind of doesn't look the same as the other rest of the army, but he's pretty cool looking. I think he has like a heavy 20 gun, or possibly like a 2 or 3d6 auto hit gun. So basically and he has the demon keyword because he's a demon engine, so he follows all the things. So if you have the demon prince with the crown following that guy, he would hit you with like 20 attacks. Definite, some of them auto hit or whatever. Let's say it's that heavy 20 gun. I think it's heavy 20. Heavy 20, he hits, he wounds, he rolls a single 6 and gets to shoot 20 more shots. Now this is dumb, but GW, just in the FAQ, rules Mortarion that if he swings his multiple attack scythe attack, so instead of making like 6 attacks with his big swing, he can make like 18 or whatever with his Reaper swing. If any of those roll a 6, it could be 1 big attack or 3 more little attacks for death to the false emperor, I believe it's called. So now this FAQ starts to make it seem intentional that the skull cannons and things can operate that way and shoot d6 more times if they roll the 6 to wound. So that bothers me because it seems obvious when it says make an additional attack, meaning 1, it should be just 1 more of whatever you were doing. So Mortarion shouldn't be able to roll like 15 or 18 dice fishing for 6s and then use those extra attacks generated to then swing his big attack at something else or whatever, or 3 more each time he does it. Or if anybody should do it, maybe he could. I don't know. He is a Primarch, but I don't know. Seems crazy. They like come up with these random FAQs, rulings, and then sometimes they have to go back and do it. I forgot my true one. Change something about 40k. What would it be? Forge World is narrative and open play only, and everybody who's a man-child that has to go run to some Forge World nonsense to try and win games can cry on the internet for a week and then get over it. Something about Forge World just bothers me. And I love that one Admech Dreadnought with the big cannon on his shoulder. He looks super cool. I don't know if he's a Dreadnought or a Titan, I'm not really sure. I almost bought him at Adepticon, but I think I'd rather just Forge World not exist at all. Or point it to like, keep raising the points on it. Because everything about it is so stupid most of the time to me. Like an Imperial Knight will have 3 up ballistic skill and a 4 or a 5 up invuln only against shooting, but a Forge World Dreadnought will have a 4 up invuln against everything, shooting and hand to hand, and he'll have a feel no pain, and he'll hit on 2s, and he'll be toughness 9. So because you spent a little bit extra and bought this crappy out of date resin Dreadnought, you get a little guy that's tougher, shoots better, and more resilient, and has ridiculous guns, and he's 250 points less than the Imperial Knight. So yeah, give me a break on that. Get out of here. Raise the points on that. Just point them out of existence for tournament play or whatever. I don't know. Not a huge fan of the Forge World. I think the Death Corps guys look super cool. I don't know. They make cool stuff, and I don't even mind playing with it sometimes, but I've seen enough Leviathan Dreadnoughts to know you don't like most people don't like the model. They much prefer the rules. So, same thing back with the iGuard. Everybody was taking the Forge World Hellhound and the Forge World Basilisk that doesn't have to be a tank, so you don't have to pay the extra. It's cheaper. It's cheaper because it's Forge World. It's better. Its gun's better. It's a plasma Basilisk. Whatever it is. So dumb. Or just move the damn Forge World rules department to the other GW department. Let them talk to each other. I think they're separated. Forge World comes out with crazy stuff. Hey man, Graham Collins shared this on Facebook. Oh, awesome. Oh, yeah, he said he did. Thank you again for that. The shares are super appreciated. I don't expect anybody to do that. These ladies, we'll be checking your stuff out, man. Well done on the sub count. Well, thank you so much for that. It's awesome. West Side said that was Peninsula Painting Projects. Ooh, that's the last one. Well, you didn't really ask. Just a nice comment. West Side said, I subbed, I liked, and I want to congratulate you on your 100th subscriber. No need for Abaddon here, but cool initiative. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, and the giveaway is kind of trying to buy your love sort of thing. But hopefully you stick around, right? Maybe you like some of the videos or watch some. Maybe you find some value in something I do. And maybe you get lucky and win some stuff on the way. And it's a big deal to hit 1,000 subscribers now and get a lot of view time, because that's how you can monetize your YouTube channel. So I'm going to be experimenting with other ways to monetize it, because like I said, I would love to just be hanging out doing hobby stuff full time. So we're a long way from that, but I've also just been investing my money in stocks. So hopefully the dividends one day will cover all monthly bills and then I retire. Scumbag 4G Custom says, congrats on getting over 100. Could you tell something about the gaming scene in the US? Do clubs usually run out of a local store or meet up at a certain place or even someone's house? Do you have to drive very far to get to a local store, or is it just around the block? I've pretty much played at the same store all my life. It's the guy that owns Imperial Outpost Games is named Darren, super awesome. He worked at a store called Waterloo Games, which is where I first found out about the hobby when I was like 12 years old. And I used to go to Waterloo Games every Saturday. Then he opened up Imperial Outpost Games, and I used to go to Imperial Outpost Games every Saturday. Then he opened up a bigger Imperial Outpost Games, moved locations to that one, and I used to go every Saturday. Then from about probably 18, 19, 20 to about 28 or so, I was out of the hobby. I moved to Vegas for a while. I didn't pay any attention to it. So I moved back to Phoenix after a vicious amount of alcoholism and partying and having a wonderful time destroying myself and the bank account in Las Vegas. I moved back and I got a text from a buddy who I used to play with every Saturday, and it was 4th of July, and he said, hey, come down to Outpost. And I said, okay. And we're going to leave you right there for 1 second. I got that crazy cat who wants to come back in now. When I left you for that long journey to the door to let the cat in. So I'm back in Phoenix, and I'm just partying on the weekends. I still haven't learned my lesson, I guess. But now I'm making money again, so it's even worse. It's better, but it's not as frequent partying. So my buddy hits me up 4th of July, and he says, hey, come down to Imperial Outpost. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll come down. And Age of Sigmar just came out. And I was sitting there, and we were all hanging out and reminiscing. And another buddy came back, who's actually the guy that owns Gloomhaven. And he hadn't been coming in and playing either. And we all were just sitting there. And it was like Age of Sigmar just came out, and the rules were free. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, I have my Empire army, my Dogs of War army, my Chaos army in the closet at my parents' house. I'm going to get it, and let's try this out. Because I think it was 8th, 7th edition Warhammer. I was barely playing, but I ended up buying the rulebook and codex, and then ended up barely playing, and it just was like a big waste of money. So, good lord, this cat. You can see her. So not having to spend like $60 or $50 to buy a book to get in to play was a huge deal for me. So Age of Sigmar saved me and brought me back into the hobby. And then now I don't drink. I quit drinking alcohol. And I quit smoking cigarettes and all that cool stuff. So this is like a big part of my life as far as socializing, I guess. I really don't see any of my friends anymore that I partied with, because when you quit drinking alcohol, you're not interested. At least for me, I can say this for myself, because I haven't drank in over like a year and a half almost now. A lot of things that people do and you used to do when you drink are not interesting anymore at all. So, and that includes even like just going out to eat, right? If you're not having a couple beers when you go out to eat, going out to eat's not even that fun. Like for me. So, oh, jeez, must be going through withdrawals. So, the gaming scene in the U.S. It's pretty good here in Phoenix, Arizona. There's quite a few stores. I'd say there's at least 3 or 4 that have a decent draw of people, just in like Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale. I don't think so. You say gaming clubs. I'm not familiar with gaming clubs. It seems more like everybody goes to the store and you end up naturally just kind of playing with your friends more than you play with other people, because those are the ones you might text with. Hey, you want to go play a game, right? And then when you get there, somebody else is like, hey, you want to play a game? And you're like, no, I'm waiting for my friend. We're going to play. Maybe after, and then, you're tired or whatever. But everybody's, friendly, nice to each other. The store I play at is like 2 miles from my house. When I was looking around at moving, it was a big concern that I was very close, because I knew that's where I'm going to spend all my time socializing and stuff. And also, if I want to go get a pot of paint, I don't have to drive across town. So hopefully that answered it. It was a little off tangent, but we're going to do a video about all that one day. The Dark Yellow says, hey, when are you going to play my Thousand Suns again? Well, hey, we'll have to play pretty soon. He's the guy that won the Abaddon, so everybody super jealous of him. He plays at Imperial Outpost too. We both paint and like painting and like talking about painting, so super cool guy. And there's a big tournament this weekend. Just ended today, Sunday, May 21st, I guess. No, 20th. It's after 2 a.m. right now. And a lot of the guys are all practicing armies for that big tournament. So I don't really like playing with any of those guys that are more into the 40K tournament stuff when they're practicing for tournaments, because I get less enjoyment out of that. Although they are good people. And this guy, he mostly doesn't play tournaments, but he was practicing for a tournament. So I will play your Thousand Suns again when you're not playing a list you want to take to a tournament. John Stachin says, congrats on hitting 100. What's your least favorite Warhammer 40K faction? My least favorite Warhammer 40K faction is Tau. They didn't exist when I played before. I don't remember when they came out. They must have existed but I've never really liked anime or anything in that kind of art realm, I guess. Manga, anime, cartoons. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, none of that. So when you were watching Dragon Ball Z, I was watching Power Rangers or X-Men or something like that, right? So nothing again. I've only played against Tau once. I know they were super good for a while. If it was in 7th edition, though, it was such a terrible game. Who cares? They seem fine, and I only played against them once in 8th edition. Nobody I know really plays them. But visually, some of their models I don't like them. They're boxy. The Castellan robots look like charming 1950s robots that you would love. The boxy Tau robots, some of the big ones are cool. The medium ones are kind of terrible. Their infantry are pretty cool. The drones are terrible. The vehicles look stupid. And I like Eldar, right? They're space elves. So I don't know. Just visually, I don't like Tau. I don't think I'd ever play them unless I was just picking the models that I liked and maybe going like one or two models I didn't like if they were like the HQ I needed or something. Also, I never really had any interest in Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Ultramarines. I'd maybe do like Death Watch. I'm gonna probably do a little bit of White Scars. I think would be cool. I had Blood Angels and I sold them. So not really my go-to. I probably actually just kept my Blood Angels and tried them out for a couple months in 8th edition because they really were just so lame in 7th edition. And they seem alright in 8th, but I just never really fell in love with them. I just got a really great deal on them, a huge army, and everybody was playing 40k, and I wanted to play too. So I found a great deal on an army, picked it up, and now I was a Blood Angels player. It wasn't because of any visual reason why I wanted. I just got a great deal on a gigantic army, and that got me back into the 40k side of the hobby. Mokri Wave says, congrats for the 100 subs. I look forward to liking all your videos to help boost whatever it is YouTubers get for likes. What will you be doing a speed paint tutorial for Horde armies? What keeps you motivated when you paint Horde armies? If you look above where my head is, you could see my video showing up as like recommended to my own video here that I'm looking at. I think the likes help my video show up in that sidebar. That's it, I think. And I don't even know if that's true. I just know everybody else asks for likes. And likes is pretty simple. You just click it. Likes and subscribes, click it. Subscribe. If you don't like the video, don't watch it. If you don't like all the videos, unsubscribe, right? I haven't figured out a good way to film painting tutorials, but I think you're going to want, I mean, it depends on your army. One way, if you're like wearing a lot of leather, like boots and belts and pouches, prime them black, dry brush them brown, dry brush them light brown, and then basically you've just painted all your boots, belts, straps, pouches. Then go in, paint the pants, shirt, armor, whatever, the hat, that sort of thing. Washes are going to be your friend here. I think a big trick for getting a pretty quick, interesting thing, take a bright pastel color, like one of those like Baharat blue, or one of those like really bright minty greens, or something maybe like a pale yellow, like a lemon yellow. Take like a color like that. This works really well for blue, but so if you're doing like a 90s Zangors, paint them all arcane blue or some bright kind of pastel blue, right? An orc you could do this on. Then take a wash like Drakenhoth Nightshade and wash the whole thing. Then dry brush the model with your original blue or whatever original pastel color. And that's going to give, if with a dark wash, this works really well for blue. You'll get dark blue, dark blue in the shadows where it pooled, and you'll get highlights, and the mid-tone will be that color with the wash over it. And it's just quick. It works good for Zangors and demons and stuff. It works good for pink horrors if you do it with like a pink or purple. And it's only two colors, right? Light, bright, pastel kind of color, a good deep dark kind of wash, and then a dry brush back with the original color. 2 steps, 3 steps, whatever that is. So it gives you motivated to paint Horde armies. You just gotta like, having a painted army. You gotta like painting. If you're doing it as a complete chore, I think it's gonna be really hard to do. I also wouldn't even do a Horde army unless it was something visually I thought would look really cool. I think a horde of like flying Tyranids looks cool, but I don't know. Like the 400 orcs on the table to me just doesn't look as cool as like 15 killer cans. So, Smallest Miner says, congratulations. What's your favorite painting style technique? My favorite painting style technique is looking at people who do basically witchcraft, painting the most amazing things you ever saw, and pretending I'm one day gonna master those techniques. That's my painting style, trying to get good. My painting style is get good. And my favorite technique is Lamy and medium. Just bust out, like, open your pot of Lamy and medium, start mixing it in with your colors, start making your little glazes out of it, whatever, and you'll be pretty happy with the results, I think. Yeah, if you're using GW paints, that Lamy and medium is like amazing. Also, the technique of using gloss wash is just the bomb. My favorite painter is William Bouguereau, who is a French master. So he's an oil painter. I don't know. I was like looking around, but I don't have a picture or anything of his on the wall to show you. But I'll go into that maybe one day and just talk about like art stuff. Brush for Hire UK says, congratulations, dude. What is the must tool item on your painting desk? My glasses are like a must now. I didn't even know I couldn't see perfect until I got my eyes tested. And then I had to pick out glasses. And it was even hard to be like, even think that I needed them. And then when I finally got them back, you got to go pick out your frames, and then they call you and you go back and pick up your glasses. And I put them on, and everything was like a little more crisp. And it just was like, wow, I was seeing a little bit of like in a haze. I think it's called astigmatism or something. So now when I paint, it's like, oh, I got to put my glasses on, and it just, everything looks sharper and more clear. So it's like I get to paint in HD now. And I didn't know at all that I couldn't see perfect. So that was interesting. Also, like a good couple brushes, and then like a kind of roughly pointy brush that can slap on some good base coats and stuff. Lamy and medium is pretty bomb. Gloss wash. I've been playing a lot with inks, so those are fun. I have 2 wet palettes, and I haven't been using them, so I really need to rearrange my desk so I can have one permanently set up. We Look says, congratulations. When and how did you start painting? I always did artwork. Drawing, coloring, painting, paint by numbers, light bright, etch-a-sketch, paint, trying to do like art classes. I always did art class. I went to college, or I did like advanced art stuff in high school and participated in some things. College, I wanted to be a painter. I was told I had to not be a painter and I should be like a graphic designer. I went for painting anyway. I dropped out. It was horrible. Don't ever do it. It's completely a worthless thing to listen to people just tell you they like the colors you used. Even your teachers are terrible. A couple of them were like really good, but most of them were just like insanely bad, painting like green logs. And there you're like painting 201 or whatever teacher. It's just a big pile of scam. And then the only way you actually are going to be, so there's 2 ways you could be a painter making a living, I guess. There's probably more, but 2 important ones are like get famous. So that could mean like graduating from a prestigious art school and having your works in a famous gallery, like in New York City or something. And then just by being in that gallery, they'll have people that will buy your work for a lot of money, and you will be making a lot of money. The other way is to simply just be undeniably good. And they do not teach you that, at least at Arizona State University painting program. It is terrible. So definitely check out like a art school, an atelier, or figurative art school, high realism. I love that saying, get good. Get good sounds like Larry the Cable Guy or something. But being undeniably good is more important than graduating. So I found that out. I started bartending, working in restaurants and stuff, and then I'd always try and paint, and I paint little landscapes and stuff. And just getting back into Warhammer, like more into it, and Games Workshop and gaming in general, has been just awesome for me because I get to spend a lot of time doing artwork and painting. You can see, like, over my shoulder, that's a giant canvas, double the width of a door and almost the height of a door. I've had that for years and years and years, and it's unpainted. If I reach pretty much anywhere in my room, like, here's a big tube of, acrylic paint. I have tons of oil painting materials. Let's see, I'll try to show you. I don't have anything that's good. I never got good. But there's like a self-portrait drawing I was working on. There's a drawing I did in like high school. That little orange man up there on that wall, I painted that one. I found this at Goodwill. This is a cool painting. It's a limited print, numbered 226 out of 275. That's a cool painting. Definitely check out Goodwill if you like art. If it's penciled in a number of a series, then it's a limited print, and it's worth a lot more than whatever Goodwill's charging for it. So it's probably worth a couple $100. I think I paid 20. But anyway, I love painting. It's my favorite thing in the world. I hate abstract art, like almost entirely. I hate it. Jackson Pollock is terrible. I don't like Picasso. I don't really care for Impressionism or Cubism or any of that nonsense. I like undeniably skilled painters that create an illusion on the canvas. That is the most abstract thing, is a perfect, and not perfect like a exact realism, because if you zoom in on like a Sargent or a Bouguereau or something painting, you can still see brushworks, you can still see lines, you can see color, you can see, like mistakes, but you're painting, right? You're not making a photograph, you're making a painting. So I think painting in miniatures is a little over interested in like blending, which is weird. They're so into blending, like it's the most important thing in the world, and that doesn't mean anything in art. Most really good oil painters usually don't blend. They put the color down and they leave it. Even though oil paint blends very easily, you would be mistaken if you think oil painters spend a ton of time blending it. It just kind of naturally blends as they brush stroke it over, but they're not sitting there smoothing out every edge. That would not look good. It's not interesting. It's not visually interesting. Also like color theory a lot. Like, back to whoever said, what do you listen to when you're painting? I could definitely just throw on like a Renaissance documentary I find on YouTube or a color theory video and listen to that nonsense. And by nonsense, I mean it's probably something most people aren't interested in, but I love it. So all my life, off and on, trying to take it seriously, but been kind of a failure at ever going all in, quit your day job and start trying to do it for a living sort of thing. Or moving to the woods and painting for a year and then coming back and seeing how good you got in that 1 year with no internet or whatever. Congrats on the 100 subs. 150 maybe sooner than you think. Also, what armies do you play? I'm almost at 150, so if you got this far in the video, please subscribe. I have already answered this. I'm trying to think if I left any out, and I don't believe I did. So definitely, you probably already got your question answered. So sorry about that. Mostly I play AdMech Thousand Suns right now, and demons in Age of Sigmar, or general Chaos armies, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle. But I haven't been playing Sigmar much since 8th edition. Wargamer Nick said, so new sub Nick sent me the other one. I think that was Idic Beer. So thank you again. Congrats, dude. That's well groovy. What inspired you to start YouTube and continue YouTubing if it's different? Oh, YouTube inspired me. I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel, and I've always been the guy that's like, oh, I don't have the right camera, or every Black Friday or Cyber Monday, I would be online looking at cameras, and I'd always just never pull the trigger and buy one. And I said, screw it, I'm going to start doing videos. I didn't know what to do. I bought a van. I started converting it into a RV, and that was on another channel, and I was doing one every single day. I said I was going to do one video every day this year, and while I was doing those videos every day, every once in a while I would put up a video about Warhammer, and I was going to do this channel, and I could just hear it in my voice that I liked talking about this more than when I was talking about all the work I was putting into the van for my road trip vehicle. So I just switched over. I just stopped uploading over there. On this one, I had like 50 subscribers, when that one, which I had putting up videos all the time for, had, only 10. And then all of a sudden the views and watch time was way higher on this. So people obviously were more interested in what I was doing, talking about their favorite hobby or my favorite hobby, than me kind of being a poser talking about van life stuff, when all I was trying to do was make a road trip vehicle to drive to Adepticon, and then my transmission broke and I had to fly. But I used to want to do like a YouTube channel when I was in Vegas about like picking up women and partying and alcohol and just all the cool stuff I used to partake in. I used to be pretty cool, believe it or not. Ooh, good times. What a big beard painting. What is the army you are most likely to start next? Great beard, by the way. Thank you, sir. Or lady, if you're the big bearded lady painting. Start next. I guess it just happened. Kind of Death Watch, probably a little bit, but I still have to work on my Eldar, my Igard, my Tyranids, my Demons, my Skaven, my Chaos, my, I got it all. So I almost bought into Necrons. I did buy a Doom Scythe, but I'm not really doing them just yet because I haven't figured out a color scheme. How many more we got? Oh, just a couple more. What type of brushes do you prefer? My favorite brush company is Escoda. They're handmade brushes in Spain, so they're not like Chinese sweatshop brushes. But also, if you want cheap sable brushes that sometimes are surprisingly pretty decent, jerrysartorama.com. Creative Mark is like their brand. It's basically them taking companies and copying them in China for cheaper than what the company does. So Creative Mark, anything is like a Chinese Jerry's Autorama knockoff. That's, some of them are pretty good. I like some of the GW brushes I got. I haven't actually really bought them. They all just came with that giant Blood Angels army I bought, and some of them held up very well. The one brush that I bought from GW that surprisingly didn't hold up at all was this medium shade brush. It just will not maintain a point. It's really kind of funky, but I still use it for washes, so it's cool. Escoda, the best. Winsor Newton Series 7, they're cool. The brand Winsor Newton has never been a brand that stood out to me as a really high quality brand. So I don't actually own any of the Winsor Newton Series 7s, but I did work in an art supply store, and in my oil painting journeys, oil painting, yeah, people used Winsor Newton, but you'd use like Holbein or Gamblin or Rembrandt, or the top of, the cream of the crop per se would be Old Holland. And they're just like, so Holbein or Holbein was like a oil paint company, from Japan, right? Japan's like super, super, like, they take like great care in what they do in Japan, it feels like. If you watch a documentary on like a guy who's like makes knives, or watch the documentary How to Live Forever, and there's like 90 something year old people in like Okinawa, and they make like insane kites. And freaking awesome. Like, they take a lot of care in their products, I believe. Shout out to Japan. But anyway, Escoda brushes, super awesome. The reason people say sable is because it's a natural hair. Kolinsky sable is believed to be the best brush for painting because Kolinsky is a place, I believe, in Russia that is very cold. And the sables that are, I can't think of words, residents there, local there, because of the cold weather, their fur is more resilient to the paint and moisture. Yeah, so sable, Kolinsky brushes. It's funny when I see miniature painters tell you not to use your sable brushes when you're using mineral spirits and oil paint. Like, if you ever watch that, they go, "Oh, don't use your sable brush, right, on the oil paint." And it's like, well, that's exactly what you would use if you're oil painting. So, I don't know, kind of silly. Definitely find like a long, good video on cleaning your brush. I think there's one that's like 20 minutes somewhere. If I can find it on YouTube again, I'll do a talk about it. But it's really good. Just making sure you clean your brushes. And what's the synthetic brushes? They curve a lot at the end, right? The hairs go. I think a lot of that's from stabbing the brush into like curved nooks and crannies, right? So the brush is like that. You stab it into the miniature's armpit, and it curves. Whereas on a canvas, it's always flat, and you draw out, right? You don't ever push really on a canvas. You might go side to side, but so luckily synthetic brushes are cheap and easily replaced. So if you're doing synthetic, I want to try and get the best synthetic brand, but I don't know. I mean, is $15 for a brush expensive? I don't think so. I have like $80 tubes of oil paint that I've never even opened. And I'm not saying that because like I'm wealthy, because I'm certainly not. I'm literally living in a little room here. But I just mean, like, if you value something, like, spend your money on it, right? I've spent hundreds of dollars on bar tabs, and they literally turned into a hangover. There was hundreds of dollars I spent for hangovers and, buying 10 Egg McMuffins when I could have bought the best cobalt blue you've ever seen with your own two eyes, right? Like a $40, $50 tube of paint. That's oil painting. For miniature painting, everything seems cheap. I mean, the miniatures themselves are kind of expensive, but I don't even ask this question, but I want to jump into it real quick. The hobby of Warhammer specifically holds its value very, very well. Even if you mess up your models, like, as long as you don't destroy them, and the paint's not too thick, they hold their value very well, and I don't think they really go too much below 50%. You can find deals. People will sell you stuff for less than 50%, which is awesome. So just understand that if you buy like a $70 Land Raider, you're always going to get $40 for it, right? So you're really only risking $35. So, or you can get $35 for it, something like that, right? It holds its value well. So even if something's expensive, don't be afraid to spend money on it if you like it. And that is what type of brush I prefer. Escoda, handmade in Spain. Awesome, awesome brushes. Lewis M says, a big congrats on 100 subs from Australia. What is your favorite aspect of the 40K hobby? Painting, playing, collecting? I'm going to say all of them, and in that exact order: painting, playing, and then collecting. For some reason, I don't know why I even like collecting. I have so much stuff I have to put together and build and paint, but I think I get like I'm like an addict kind of behavior, and I think I bought that Primaris Librarian. I think it just feels good, right? I like knowing that I have like 25 halflings, metal halflings. I have 7 Blood Bowl teams, right? I don't even play Blood Bowl in forever. So I guess I do like collecting. But painting, then playing, then collecting. Doom Mouse. This channel is great. My question is, what is the strongest unit in the Thousand Suns Codex and why? Strongest unit in the Thousand Suns Codex, in my opinion, is the Tzeentch Demon Prince. He has access to all the spells. He is a beast in hand-to-hand combat. He can fly. He buffs everything around him. And he can't be targeted. I field one. I have a second one. I don't know if I showed this on my channel. I think I did. I got another Demon Prince conversion here. It's basically just the Demon Prince's wings and some putty. Let's see if we can show you that. Probably not, but anyway, I just put it on a dragon ogre. So he's going to be painted more red. Not corn red, but like somewhere kind of like a Screamer pink red or something, maroon. Because he'll be a second Demon Prince for the Thousand Suns, but also, or maybe even more so, he'll be a Corn Demon Prince with the axe. And the Corn Demon Prince is the only one, I think, that should take the axe, or could take it and make use of it. So I think the Demon Prince is the best one. Ahriman on foot's really good, and enlightened with the bow and arrow, so I love those guys. Underdog Painting says, "Hey fella, my question is, what is your opinion, or what in your opinion is..." Hey fella, my question is, what in your opinion is best for beards? It's like looking in the mirror. I just shampoo mine. I don't think I'm good at it. I shampoo it and condition it when I shower. I don't have any beard oils or anything. I feel like people were growing beards long before there was things called beard oil, but I don't know if that's true. Also, when it's like this long, alright, so it's like decently long. I like to hair dry it and comb it down. I kind of like that shape of like trying to get it kind of straight down, straight over. You become like a pharaoh, or like one of those Machu Picchu or whatever that place is. That island that has those big heads. If you've seen Night at the Museum, they want to chew bubble gum. Those big rock heads. I kind of like that shape from my beard. Trying to do that like big, or like even now more relevant would be Thanos' like jawline. Pretty cool. I used to actually have it too, if we're going to go on a beard tangent. I used to shave off the mustache and the chin. So you can let's put a line there. So you can see, and then shave the mustache part, and then it would just be like giant sideburns. Nice. I thought that was pretty cool. I think there's a guy in Game of Thrones that has this like that, but it's really long, and he like braids it, so this is all shaved. The middle's all shaved, and then the sides are really long, and they go under his chin, and then they're like twisted together. And if I ever grew it out that long, I think I'd totally do that. That's cool. And then Dacier02 says, "Congrats on breaking 100 and to many more. Thank you. How about a video on where to start for beginners that are interested in painting?" Yes, we'll do that. But to answer your question, I know you're the last one in this, and this video is probably going on for like an hour and a half. Hopefully I can upload it to YouTube. Where to start in painting? Just buy some paintbrushes, buy some paints, keep the paint thin. You can't ruin your miniatures. Use a spray primer. Make sure it says primer on the can. And just get started, man. There's so much information on YouTube. If it's something you think you'll like, just try it out. I'm going to do a video on some of my first models. I still have a lot of my very first Eldar models. And I'll show you where I started, and then you let me know if you see any value in that. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. 150 giveaway. Hopefully this isn't too long. I'm sure it is. Bye.